What is up, creators? Welcome to the Friday Live Helpcast with your hostess, the mostess, Diana Gladney. This week, we're going into some Q&A, some questions that you may or may not have about your streaming setup. Going to be answering quite a bit of questions this week. I got a comment this week on a video rather, and the comment kind of threw me for a loop for a little bit, just because I empathize when I see you all struggling with stuff. I empathize when I see that something isn't working out the way that you see it in a video is not translating to in real life. That bothers me, because that's the same reason why this channel even exists as it stands today. Because so often I would go to a video, especially after you have dropped some bones on little shiny things like this and hissing, and you think like, great, I got it, I'm ready, I got all my stuff, let's go through the tutorial video. And then you're getting through the tutorial video, or you get to the end and you're like, something's off. So if you have any questions, any things that you're dealing with, troubleshooting issues or whatever, we're going to dive into your questions this week. The one specific question addressed stuff, and I get it when it comes to audio, that tends to be a problem. So I want to talk about that, because this particular question asked about, basically it wind up being something dealing with Ecamm and not being able to connect that to some other source. Usually that's like a Zoom or something. For those of you that don't know, it really doesn't matter what software tool that you're using. In this particular instance, it just so happened to be Ecamm Live. That is what I used to do these streams with. The host of the Being a Creator series drops every Tuesday. So when you're using that software and you're trying to connect, more or less it's the audio, you can share the video. You have nothing, you would need to understand that you have nothing that is sharing or telling this program to talk to another program. And the same is vice versa with a lot of applications and certain things. Ecamm will do its best to be able to pick up audio from certain things, but Zoom is not one of those programs. So you would need a software tool called Loopback. Pull that up real quick. It's called Loopback, not Loopdeck. That's a different a different tool. So Loopback is a software that basically helps with connecting one audio source to the other. And so you know how we have virtual cameras, so you can share that virtual screen of whatever the stuff is that you have going in Ecamm. There's what's called like virtual microphones or virtual audio sources, and that's what Loopback is. And people will ask and they'll get frustrated and they'll say, well, why doesn't Ecamm have all this? And first of all, you don't want one particular program to literally have everything, because now everybody will start to profess like, well, why is it that my computer, or why is the program got to be so big now? Because you wanted 12 different companies to smush into one product, and now you have it, but now you need the bandwidth still the same for all the different stuff. So, and furthermore, nor does everybody need it. So most of the time in my use case as an educator, when somebody's hiring me and we're doing a coaching session or even just a consultation, most of y'all got setups that are too complex, overly complicated for no reason, to be completely honest with you. And it's not because, oh, well, you just don't use it, plain Jane kind of a thing. No. The thing is, most of y'all truly, you have overlapping audio and video sources and you're trying to combine all of them. No studio, even with a crew, a trained crew that knows how to do that, would do what you're trying to do in that sense. Not because they don't have the vision, but because it doesn't make any audio or video sense. So when you're investing in tools and you're investing in software tools as well, make sure that you understand the system that you're trying to build, and is that a competent system before you rant and rave about a thing. So just some tidbits there. Also, even before I got this comment, I went over to the blog over on my website, dianagladney.com. And let's go over here. Let's do this and hissing. All right. So on this screen, you now see my blog, dianagladney.com/blog. And you'll see that this Let me actually slide this over a smidgen more. Why is this? Oh, you know what it is? I forgot when I was doing a training, I zoomed in quite a bit. So that's why. Okay, now we're back in business. I wrote this blog post about developing a system when you're creating content versus blindly buying gear. So I think I posted this yesterday, but this post is because most people get into a point where you're just buying stuff and you're buying a bunch of things and you haven't considered, is this a system of things that's going to work together? And you just assume. And I love the saying that you probably heard me say in a training before. When you assume, it always makes you look like an ass. So stop assuming, right? So when you assume that your audio and video and it just should work, it doesn't. You need to understand when you're buying gear, and don't just spot buy and piece buy certain things from all of your favorite creators. We want to make sure, at least I can say, I can't even speak about other creators. I can say, I want to make sure that when you are investing in something for your business or your brand, you are investing in something that makes sense in a system of how you plan to use it. Sometimes that includes the program, like I talked about, was this loop back. I believe this is it. Yeah. So loop back, I think, yeah, is it? No, this may be the wrong company. Joins OS Founding Ikebay project. No, I don't think that's it. Rogue Amoeba. Why do y'all don't own your URL? See, that's what happens when you don't own your URL. You buy your company name instead of your product's name, and you should own both. This is it. So this is Loopback. And if you are in the Ecamm Live community, Facebook group community, I highly encourage you to do that, because there are a lot of things and a lot of partnerships and things like that. So there is a discount for people that use Ecamm Live. You need to be in that Facebook group. And then I believe its support will get you access to whatever the discount is. But even if you don't know what any of this stuff means, this is basically what this person was experiencing or whatever, or needing to do. I don't have a tutorial on Loopback. We do have one of the community members, Kirk Nugent, who does. So usually when people ask, I'm like referring them to Kirk's video, because he actually has a fantastic tutorial, and I love to support you all anytime that you're doing something. When this was dropped, Loopback, this now starts to take a person that knows nothing about nothing when it comes to video or audio, and it makes you have to learn. So when I say you need to invest in a system, you also are signing up for the education required to run that system. If this looks more complex than what it needs to be, or you don't want to deal with it, you may want to revamp and revise your system and how you plan to do stuff. Because when you start getting into things like this, and Loopback is fairly easy to do. Even like I said, when I'm doing a coaching or consultation with somebody, I'll send them a link to a training that I have on this, but it's not one on the channel though. But you know, it's like, you're not entering this all willy-nilly, because you're understanding the system of the what and the why. You're asking one tool to speak to another, and vice versa, and so forth. But when it comes to troubleshooting, that also means you sign up to figure it out. To be honest with you, you also are signing up. So when something goes awry, you're also signing up to like understand that you need to put it together. So don't put anything together systemized wise that you aren't willing or even able to really, you know, troubleshoot in a certain sense. It's just about being wise in the how you operate and do certain things. What is going on? Kim Bucha is saying, good morning, Dinah Gladney and friends. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We're having a fantastical day over here, out here in these digital streets. What's going on, Mr. Camera Junkie? Good to see you, saying it's International Coffee Day. So hey, that's what I'm talking about. Grab your mug. Colombian roast in the building. All right. Welcome to the weekend. Good to see Blind Guy, his wife, their life. Good afternoon. Hello, creative girl with Danielle B. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Earl Hall Music Studio. Good to see you, saying, what up, D? Got my ZV-E10 with that crispy Sigma 16. M1 MacBook Mini, man. You got the whole lineup. That's what I'm talking about. Congrats to you. Everybody give some love to Earl. congrats on your new purchase. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying this is giving a 90s vibe. The intro music. Yeah, we switched it up. We did a takeover for Ecamm Live and Luri over at Live Streaming Pros this Monday. And so I was like, let me change up my countdown timer. I've been wanting to for a little while anyhow. I was like, let's get this last quarter, switch it up, and then we'll have some new jams for the new year as well. Saying I have lots of issues and they are audio related, but that's just because I'm switching to DaVinci Resolve from Premiere Pro. So there's that. I did see that you were going through that, and may the Lord bless you and keep you always, because I ain't for switching big programs all willy-nilly. If it makes sense, and if it's like the benefits after you learn and get through the learning curve, so be it. But the cool thing is, though, Joshua Ververs, good to see you, glad that you're here, is that when you are switching to DaVinci Resolve now, you're getting a much more creator-friendly system. But, I definitely think it is about what are your keyboard shortcuts that you use or that you're used to that work well for you in Premiere. And as long as it doesn't overwrite something that maybe would be beneficial to learn in DaVinci, go that route. Because when this is back in 2018, when I was switching from Filmora, I even had played around with Premiere like in 2017. In 2018, I'm like, okay, I'm getting a Mac because I want Ecamm and I want Final Cut. I had made the decision that was what I was going to do, and I tried DaVinci Resolve from what it was back then. Yeah, no. But it's better now, and it is a great tool. A lot of people enjoy it. It's a fantastic service, and it is free. So those of you that are looking for free pro software for editing, DaVinci Resolve is available, but it comes with a rather steep learning curve. So just be open-minded. Whenever you get into something that has a steep learning curve, you just got to be super open-minded and spend some time with that. So Joshua Ververs, I cannot help you. And I'm glad that I cannot, because that would be a whole stream all on its own. What is going on, Miss Eileen? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. The Young Black Professional saying, hi all, glad I got to catch this live. Well, we're glad that you're here as well. Saying I'm so happy you brought this up. I have Ecamm Pro. I want to do interviews for video and podcast, but it appears my audio is behind my video frames. How do I fix that? Well, that is a fantastic question, and we can dive right on in on that. So let us go into, let's do this. And now you all are behind the scenes seeing what I see when I'm running my show in Ecamm Live. Do not get distracted by all of the things. This is after, like, first of all, this is beta testing with a bunch of stuff. This is running a course using Ecamm and recording the sessions in that. This is doing the live streams and recorded content and even micro content. So my Ecamm is full of stuff. So don't get distracted. Yours may look simpler and good for you because mine does not. But when you look over here in your gear wheel, this is like this quick, like what you would call like in gaming, like your heads up display. So your HUD. So if you look over here, you have your on screen icons, right? And so what you want to do is click on your gear wheel. Over here in your audio tab, you will see what your microphone source is. This is, your speaker source. This is what I use. All the audio comes back through the Rodecaster Pro because that's what I use. The broadcast system audio, it says when sharing the screen. So I still want you to see here, whatever, all that good stuff. But the more important thing, I want to bring your attention to this mic delay. Now you can go all the way up to 30 or all the way down to 0 where nothing is set. Mine is set to 2. What I would highly encourage you to do, let's put that over there for now. What I would highly encourage you to do is, you see how I have both myself and the panel on the screen here. I would go through and do a recording. So over here in the bottom right, it says finish right now because we're live. When you're doing record only, you can change that drop down icon or option to record only. What I do, and this is how when I'm switching microphones, so the Samson QTU had a different mic delay than the Shure SM7B with the audio stuff or whatever. So anytime you're changing like microphone sources, that's something that you want to pay attention to. Also, you don't want to judge your live stream because I don't know what your internet bandwidth and all that stuff is. So you want to test the record only, because sometimes stuff may get choppy. frames may drop depending on what you're doing, where you're at. Again, your internet signal and your strength of your internet, how fast it is and all of that. Those are other factors that, yes, can be controlled or helped to an extent by getting better internet, live streaming via Ethernet, and so on and so forth. But the main thing is we want the root to be correct. We can deal with variables later. We want the root of the source to be correct. So what I do is I'll start recording and I'll just be like, I'll snap and I'll look and make sure I can see like the when it hits to where I expect to see sound. And I'll be very extra in the what I'm saying. So I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4 or something silly like that. So I can see like this is me clapping. We're at 2, clap, clap, clap. So I'm saying clap when my hand actually is connecting and making that sound. So if the motion gets off or something, or like we are 2 now, and I say, okay, 1, 2, clap, 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 clap. If I'm off with saying it, it doesn't help. So it's got to be clap, 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 clap. And you can see it's off because we changed it. So I would start at 1 and give it a few seconds and just keep doing that for up to the 30. And you can tell yourself, if I'm testing something actively, I'll always tell myself I'm at 4 right now. And to me, on my screen, this looks accurate. And whatever it is that you're testing, have your full setup. Don't test, well, I'm just going to test with these and see if I can get it right. No, test with your full setup. So wherever you are, your internet, your time of the day, or whatever you were planning to do the stuff, test at that time, because internet bandwidth and the stuff that's going on for the signal strength and all of the whatevers is different in the daytime than the nighttime, and the where you're going into what platforms. What I usually would do, if it was going to Facebook, I had a empty Facebook group that nobody was in except for me, so I could do tests in there. So when I wanted to do a live stream test to Facebook, I could pull it up on my phone and see what my phone was actually showing when I'm going through the test and look at that later. Then I'll go through and I'll evaluate what happened. What did it show when I was at 2? What did it show at 3? And so forth and so forth. So like, 3 looks accurate to me on my thing, but there's some kind of delay or whatever on Facebook. And it's like, Facebook is fine. I want my root file to be fine, because Ecamm will give you the recording afterwards and all that stuff. So I want my root source to always be correct. And it's like, I'm not so worried about the other stuff, other platforms. And so, so that's what I would suggest that you do. Anytime you're switching microphones though, make sure you do check that for sure. Question coming in, Question coming in, why does the ZV-E10 crop or lose eye autofocus feature at 4K 30 frames per second? The ZV-1 does not do this at those settings, ? When you have, it's in the manual. Oh, it's in the manual to say that it will not. Most of the Sony cameras, for whatever reason, and I've gone through a myriad of tests and stuff like that or whatever. If you put, not that you'll be able to see it right now, but pulling out the ZV-1, changing the record settings to 4K, 30 frames, 4K, 30 frames per second. 4K, 30 frames per second. I guess I could hook this up. It's right here. 4K, 30 frames per second. Eye autofocus. Where you at? Face eye autofocus off. So same rules apply, which is what I found to be true in my test, which is, I think I can do this in here. 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, y'all. And I'll hook this up because I forgot I was doing a test yesterday. So I still have this set up here. So let me make sure I turn on so that you can also see the HDMI settings. HDMI info, turn to on, please. And bazinga. All right, so why? Ask Sony. Sincerely, that's the best I can do. Ask Sony. Why they do that? No clue. You still will have face, it'll still detect your face and whatever. What setting it actually goes into, I don't exactly know. or whatever, it'll still go into like the wide autofocus. So you'll still have stellar autofocus, but the actual eye autofocus, why it goes off, I have no clue. It's a Sony thing. It doesn't matter, A6600 or other, still the same. So I have no idea why they do that. It's frustrating and it's stupid, to be honest with you. So it's not just a ZV-1 thing. Why am I not showing my camera screen on here? Well, it shows it, but it's not what I want to do. Anyway, so it's not going to show you the HDMI screen. Am I even connected right? I don't know what's happening here. So, but yeah. Oh. You know what it is? This is the 1080p capture card. I can't do 4K out of this one. The 4K one is here. So that is the problem. My bad. Maybe I should get 2 4K capture cards. I already have the 1080p from way back when, but that was the problem. So yeah, in 4K 30, you'll see that face detection box or the icons or so forth say off. That's universally applicable. Why? Don't know. It's some quirks about stuff with Sony I just don't understand. I don't even like. You know, that's one of them. So I did test that. That was one of the things that I tested in, because I wanted to make sure when testing via USB-C live streaming and via HDMI, I did a tremendous amount of tests just to see what those limitations were or specifications for it. What happens is when you have it, especially if you're going off the video stuff that I taught, if you're going off of that, you're going to be in that wide framing. So whatever's in the frame you put up to it or whatever kind of stuff, it will still focus. There's other videos. I'm trying to think what the one guy's name is. He used to do, it's called like Max Tech is his channel now. But I'm trying to think what his name was, Max something, but he used to have a channel that he had wind up switching. Anyway, he did tests with it as well. So you're still getting, like, it's not exactly face tracking, but it's still one of their autofocus settings to where it still works. So I don't understand, but you can still have your camera set up and do it. I've done it and it still works near flawlessly. Only thing is, make sure you're not in product showcase mode, because now you will have problems. It'll focus on whatever's nearest. But yeah, you'll be fine with that, but I don't like it either. So I don't know why it is. It's a Sony thing. Hell, we rant and rave enough. Maybe they will change it. Who knows? Alrighty. So let's see here. Hello, guitar giveaway channel saying, hello, Diana, how are you today? I love your videos and your camera tutorials. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Glad to be of service. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Stan, where's the BMAC link? And my apologies. I apologize. There we have it. The Buy Me a Coffee link. All right. In session today. Shout out to International Coffee Day. What are you drinking? Let me know in the comments. If you drink coffee, what, not brand, but like what type of a bean, what roast, you know, all that different stuff. If you're a tea drinker, what's your favorite kind of tea to drink? We will show love today on International Coffee Day. Alrighty. Let's see here. Guitar giveaway channel saying, buying a new Sony a6400 next week, $1,200. Brand new. I can't wait to receive it. Well, I hope that you made the right choice for you. And if you did, congrats on your new purchase. What is going on, Sammy Superstar? Good to see you. Glad that you're here. What is up, Eric? Glad that you're here. Saying, I'm glad you did the LSP show the other day. That's how I discovered your channel. I've been binging your Being a Creator series. Why, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Charles. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Matter of fact, y'all show Charles some love. New in the chat and in the fam. We're good to see you. Well, yeah. We're glad that you're here and it's good to see you. So I had it reversed. So we're glad to see you here. But yeah, the channel takeover was fantastic. Talking all about the ZV-E10. If those of you, again, that you haven't seen it over on Live Streaming Pros with Luria Petrucci on Monday, because she's at Vid Summit. So I can't wait to see all the stuff. She is doing some live streams. So if you're subscribed or what have you, you'll see some of those live streams that she is doing, but I can't wait to see what content comes from that. But yeah, Monday. Oh, why? Thank you, Blind Guys. Why they're live. Thank you so much for the coffees. Much appreciated. Yeah, but we did a takeover, and it was my 1 month review, my honest review on the ZV-E10 for video. and just a use case. So we did a lot of Q&A. I'll probably add that in the playlist over here on the channel just so you can still see it. It'll still refer back to the channel, but it was like an hour and 20 minutes of nothing but just straight fire questions on the ZVE10. So it was very, very nice. Alrighty, and shout out to Kombucha's moderators in the chat. Let you know if you want to buy a coffee, support the stream, feel free to do so. And those of you that are new, you do not have to give a super chat or a buy me a coffee in order to get your questions answered. That's not how the Helpcast works. Anytime you see me live and there's a Helpcast, even if there's an associated course with it or there's a product or something, we still answer questions here. So you don't have to pay to get your question answered. We just are here to help. So that's my service commitment to my community. Alrighty, so question, Tyler, good to see you, glad you're here. Can you explain your thought process when you decided on using Kajabi? Easy. 2018, I'm working full-time at the bank, and I am about 2 years into diving into video content, like doing it for my business and like learning stuff and whatnot. I go to Grow with Video Live, the very first one. Got the VIP ticket, and the VIP ticket came with like a special VIP Q&As and stuff like that. So I knew who the speakers were. I knew the speakers, and I came with specific questions and stuff. I saw that they had Kajabi, and I saw how much it would be per month for Kajabi. And I'm looking, and I sat and I counted up what were the reasons why I was using a service, what were the specific features that I liked or wish that were there or missing, and what already was my current workflow with Kajabi. When I got ready to use Kajabi and I'm looking at it, I looked at the price tag and I said no. But a couple months went by before Grow with Video Live, the first one that happened, and I'm like, I'm stressing because when I would get home from work, this is my time to now dig into my business and start digging into being a creator and like learning the stuff about YouTube in general, just like in general learning stuff about YouTube to begin with. And the frustrating thing was that it would take me so long. You get the idea for something, but now the question becomes, how long does it take for you to execute it? How long before the idea that you have for somebody to purchase, now they can go and click a buy button and actually have access to it? It was long. For me to set up my WordPress website to even understand the ins and the outs at that time took me about a week. And I'm a nerd. Like, I will lose sleep to figure stuff out. It'd be like 3 o'clock, alarm's finna go off at 6, and I'm back up getting ready to go to work and make sure I'm at my job and in my seat at 7:15. Most of the time I was late. But, so that was the thought process. I knew how long it took me to go from idea to execution to like product, free offer, whatever the thing was. And I met with the people at Kajabi. It's even like one of the ladies you'll see doing presentations. Oh, well, thanks so much, Gary. Appreciate that. The 3 coffees. Cheers to you, my brother. Appreciate that. So I went and met with the young lady. And it was a gentleman at Kajabi, but I talked to her. And I expressed my frustration with how long it was taking me to execute on doing stuff. And I'm like, is it just because I'm new to learning all of this stuff and then like it takes some time to get used to it? Or do I really need to consider switching? And she was like, I'll be honest with you. She was like, we do get some people, and I tell them like to stay doing what they're doing because Kajabi doesn't have, this, or it's not built for what they're trying to do maybe. She's like, I can honestly tell you that's all the reasons of why we created this company, because we get it. I talked with her, and I was very confident that when I left, I was like, I'm deleting and canceling all of these accounts, and I've not looked back from that point. So that was my process and thought process. Like, what is the process and the flow of what I'm already doing now, which is very hard to duplicate. And even like now in building a team, having a company now of competent employees and stuff, what a system that you create is only a good and competent system when you can give that systems to somebody else to do, and they can competently and successfully execute it. That I was doing before was not that. That is that crap that you go into a job and like you hear that one person that's just like, this is what the company say do, but here's what I do. So that was the reason why, I switched to Kajabi and the thought process around it, because the systems that I had weren't systems. It was just a bunch of stuff that I was doing to make something work and a bunch of links in the chain, All it takes is one faulty link and the whole system is broken. Whereas in Kajabi, I could go and not only have I host my website there, my products and my courses are there. Any premium free offers that we give away, the landing pages are built through there. If I think of just like this past 2 weeks or whatever, we have a bunch of stuff coming for the ZDE 10. One of those is going to be like a mini course. And that one is going for like $7 right now. The videos haven't been added to it yet, but the written portion and the PDF downloads, even if it just sold for as is $7. That's available on the site right now. But I can go back in, add the videos to it, and have that product still available for sale. Makes it easier for when I'm giving stuff to my accountant and we need to figure stuff out financially. Also makes it easy for my team to go in and change things. Like the course stuff happened, and it's not like go to this service, go to that service, go to that service. No, it's a system in Kajabi. Like here's how so when I'm doing the training videos are what's the name? Charles? I think it's like Charles. Was that right? Yeah. Charles talked about the being a creator series. In that creator series, I share in those vlogs, like this is the system. This is the training video that we're doing. I record that in Ecamm. I upload it. The system is simple because she don't got to do nothing but click on this tab, and this one in the same thing. So it makes it easy and, to duplicate. So now those written SOPs, the video training has been done. The written SOPs can do. So just a systematic approach, Kajabi makes sense. Like 1,000%, not just as a solo creator, but as a competent content creator, it just makes sense. That's my thoughts on it. So hopefully that answers the questions for you. And anybody wants to check out Kajabi, dyna.link/Kajabi. Should I go with a good laptop or desktop to edit raw photos? Also, what laptop or desktop? Small Fry Ride, good to see you. Glad that you're here. I'm not a photos person, but I will say that the photo processing isn't probably as strenuous as the video editing process. But if you're using something like let's say you're using one of the Adobe products or the suite to go through and do, you can get by with a laptop, but the biggest thing is always going to be storage at that point, and then like what fits your workflow and system of how you plan to work. If how you plan to work is constantly on the go, a laptop makes sense. Some people do prefer to edit like off iPads and stuff like that. That's not my jam. I need a keyboard. I want the whole shebang. So knowing yourself and knowing your workflow and how you do, just like got a picture of you in the gym. Are you constantly in the gym and back and forth? You sit in the car and you work for a little while or whatever. You can edit photos on the fly, but you still need a good data storage system more than anything else. You can do either. It's just a matter of, are you a person that will come in the house and sit at the desk and need to work? Or are you traveling for your work or leisure a lot and you still want to kind of do your work on the go? As far as what you buy, I primarily personally am a Mac person. I think there are plenty of good PCs out there though that'll work. I don't have any recommendations for you specifically to that. I would probably check out some actual creators that are photographers and creators. They can more so like even like Sarah Dietschy or whatever. She has a channel and she talks about that stuff. She does, photography and videography stuff or whatever. But there are other ones like James Popsis. He's another guy that I watch. Kai Wong, he does some photography stuff or whatever. I don't think you limit it in what you use. It just make sure it has those baseline requirements. I always go for a quad core processor. At least something, at least something that's like a quad core processor, has a dedicated RAM system in there, some kind of NVIDIA or something. It's got to have some kind of additional RAM and stuff just for processing. So if you want to process a bunch of photos, it can without it passing away. If you go in Mac, the new M1 Mac Minis are great for if you just want, to build an at-home setup. PC wise, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not a PC person, but there are a lot of great PCs out there though. Just make sure it's at least quad core and has a dedicated RAM system. Question coming in saying, do I need a capture card and a 4K cam link to live stream with the A6400? Which SD card and cam link is suitable to purchase? Thank you. Been watching all your videos of cameras. Well, glad to be of service. Am I sitting low? Because I'm like chin autofocus over here. Where's my thing? Yeah, I'm like barely feel like a toddler. All right, now I got some adultness going on. Do you need one to live stream? Yeah, because the A6400 by Sony does not have the USB live streaming in it, and you need to do that as far as USB via Sony. If you use Ecamm Live, you can connect your camera via USB and live stream that way. I personally prefer to, and I only like to do like USB if I'm on the go kind of a stuff, or real quick live streams like an hour or less. Not that it can't go further, because I just tested with the ZV-E10 and Ecamm and was able to go 11 hours via USB, no problems. But if you're doing something long term, like that long or whatever, it's always going to be an AC power adapter. Yes, I say Camlink 4K capture cards just because they're tried and true. And like I said, this 1080p one, I've had this one for 4 years, never an issue with it. 4+ years now. But yeah, Camlink 4K capture card. Make sure you get good data capable cables. I think it's like if you go to, I believe it's like diana.link/kit. Diana.link/kit. That will take you over here to this page on the interwebs over on Amazon, and you'll see stuff that I recommend for content creating entrepreneurs. Some of this stuff is going to be updated, but it's like if you're starting from zero or more or less. Capture card is still on that list. Now, when it comes to the cabling and stuff like that, you'll also see, I actually want to go to one of my other lists. I got the A6400 on here. I don't have the cables on here for whatever reason, so I need to go back and update those. But the cables matter. So like I have them on mine, but I don't have them in the recommended things, so I need to update that. But if you look over here, like these Seadream 2-pack cables, they're the L-shaped. One goes one way, another goes another way, depending on how the port is in your camera. So you're never impacted negatively when you're trying to hook up something. Like most people say, well, the cable gets in the way. You just need an L-shaped one. So either it goes up and out the way or down and out the way if you prefer. So I like these right here. These work really well when it comes to, dang, I had these since 2017. So that's a long time. These cables been holding up. That's dope. So yeah, I like these because they work. I've had them since 2017 and they've been in use about every day since then. So that's what I would recommend. And then if you're getting a USB 3.0 extension cable, make sure it has fast data transfer speeds, because you don't want anything slowing you down if you need to like how I have like about 4 feet between me and the camera with this particular setup using the A6400. You want to make sure that you are making sure there's no delay with a bad cable or cheaper cable. It's not a price thing, it's just a build quality thing. So make sure you get a good one. So that's what I would say there. French vanilla coffee in our poll for what kind of coffee. French vanilla. My mom likes that, Miss Eileen. I can't do it. I need strong stuff. So I start my mornings out with Scottish breakfast tea. That sounds amazing. I would love to try some of that. That sounds like it's got some punch to it. Betty Trevino, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying hello. Question for beginners. I don't have a budget for it, but I do think it's a priority need that would give me a high impact. A microphone for beginners. I don't think that there is in this conversation a microphone kind of a setup like a for beginner. I think it's like, how do you plan to use it, and then what's best going to serve those needs? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not about like if it's a for beginners thing, because somebody would easily say just USB. That may not be the system that makes sense for you. So my question to you would be, how do you plan to create? Do you just have your laptop, maybe a camera on a tripod above that, and you do want to connect via USB? Because something like the Samsung Q2U, if you prefer a different form factor, or the Shure MV7 is great, because both of those have USB as well as XLR. I'll also throw in the Audio Technica ATR 2100X in there. All of those have USB as well as XLR. So let's go to the Amazon's Shure SM7 or MV7, excuse me. MV7. What am I even typing? This is not even English. Thank you for knowing what I wanted without freaking making me type everything. So it is the Shure MV7. It has XLR and USB. A lot of people enjoy this kind of a style. It's not really about a style for me per se. Personally, I'm all about the quality, but you pick what you like. Both are fantastic. Both sound great. This even comes with some digital interface tools to kind of help with additional things. It's a fantastic microphone. It really is. It's kind of like a baby model to this one. You know, it's great though. But on the inside, you have the tried and true SM58 capsule. When you take that off, so it's not going to look like this one does underneath. It'll look a little different, like a handheld mic, but the audio quality and stuff is still great. So you can use this one because it has that XLR as well as USB, meaning the traditional audio source, like, so those of us that connect to a Rodecaster Pro, we're connecting via what's called that XLR, meaning it's a big thick cable with the 3 prongs on it. Something you'd see like at church or at an event and stuff like that. USB connects straight to the like I use a CalDigit TS3 because it's fast, doesn't, you know, impact the quality negatively when I'm using and connecting a bunch of stuff. So the TS3 can go straight in there. I can plug a camera there, or I can plug an audio source there. Either will work. So that's what I would suggest if you're getting started and you want options, or you're not sure what your system is going to be, and that's okay too. So if you don't know what kind of system you want to be, I love options. And so at that point, it's going to be, for me, it was the Samson Q2U. For you, it could be the Shure MV7. I like both. What's the difference in the sound quality? That's going to be indicative to your voice. You would need to know how you sound. Like, so me, I know I don't have a light, airy voice. I kind of have a mono to mid to low tone voice. Like, this is how I sound. So me listening to somebody's voice is like, hey guys, welcome to, like, they pitches all the way up there. We're not going to sound the same because we're going to bring out different things in the same microphone. So I'm going to more or less probably listen to a teen, another woman that sounds like me, or a man with a higher pitched voice for where male tonalities tend to be. So we may have a closer tone of range, because I want to see in those lower tones of the voice, when it starts to resonate through the microphone, that's about how I would sound. And then that gives me a clear depiction. So I don't care if somebody's new, if they're unboxing. I just do a bunch of videos to see, like, microphone test, whatever that mic is, microphone test, to see how it sounds. And I'll listen for people that kind of sound close to how my voice sounds. And then that'll give me an accurate picture of what I potentially would sound on that microphone. So this is the other mic that I was talking about, the Samson Q2U. I love this microphone. This is it's more of a handheld style, but you've seen me use it in older videos and stuff like that as well. It comes with some accessories or whatever. You still want to get a mic stand because that one's like really low or whatever. But this one is good because it works for when I was traveling and on the go. It could be used when I was doing talks and stuff like that if I needed to have a microphone. So just think through how you plan to use your stuff. Are you on the go? And do you want it to connect to something like a Rodecaster Pro or just via USB? Those can do either, so you're fine with whatever it is that you decide. Question, Walter Jeanette, good to see you. Glad you're here. So I'm confused. I have autofocus at 4K 30, or did I misunderstand? So in what camera? Because if you look at your camera when you turn it on, and they specifically mentioned the ZV-E10. If you know something I don't, Walter, I will punch you in the throat. We're violent on these streams. No, I'm just kidding. So what he's talking about is when you're connected for live streaming, you turn your camera. Y'all know when stuff fall around the house, be like, who did that? Who's that? Let's go. Let me just turn it around this way first, because then I'll be able to get to the settings for better. So 480, 1080, not 1080p, 4K, 30 frames per second. All right. Now it'll say in the bottom left, it's so hard to do this because the gosh darn thing is not going to show it. This capture card is not. So let's see here. Can I get you close up to the close up? Probably should have put a lens cap on or something. I don't know. but you'll see maybe bottom left of the corner, face detection or whatever is off, right? Or that face thing is off. All right, thank you to who's just sent the coffee, yay! But that's off. Thank you for your contribution for the coffee, appreciate that. So yeah, the face autofocus, not that you won't have autofocus or whatever, you still will, you just won't see where on the camera, ZV-1, ZV-E10 or whatever, you won't see the eye pop up. You'll still see like, yeah, I'm in focus or whatever, but you won't see the autofocus. But like I said, I am not opposed to being wrong when it's for a good reason. So if you know something, Walter, let us know. Also, I'm curious if you do see it, if you have PC remote function or smartphone connection enabled or disabled. So let me know, because Walter, you're gonna start fights around here, and I'm okay with it for a good reason. Shout out to Tana So Lit, appreciate that, saying what up D, let's see what you're talking about nowadays. Good to see you live again. Well, thank you so much, I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Alrighty, let's go here. Saying just dropping by to make sure everyone hit that like button. Thank you so much, Kevin Cox. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Saying ZVE10, swear I just used it. Walter, we need settings. We need answers. Because I promise you, I've been through and through. Now, granted, if I got a setting on, that makes the difference. So in my camera right now, let's go. Actually, hold on. Hold up. Okay. So here's the thing. Daggone it. I need another capture card that shows the icons. This is going to frustrate me to all hell because y'all can't see what I'm seeing, and that makes it stupid. So you know what I'm saying? Like okay. Real-time rigging right now. Okay, I can figure this out. We're gonna do this. We doing this. Okay, I got a tripod. My desk is full of things. Because I'm like, y'all gonna see this gosh darn screen if I have to do. All right. Now, hold on. If you mean via USB, that's one thing, because that will turn on. Via HDMI, though, I'm not seeing it, Walter. Tell me something good, man. Okay. Let's swing this about here. Let's pull this about chow. This is why it's good to have capture cards in abundance. All right, so I'm gonna use the ZV-1 plugged in here. Let's go change this back to USB, not USB, HDMI. Bazinga. And nobody better judge me for the amount of Post-it notes that I have on my desk. I work out here in these streets. This ain't no Instagram office. This is the real deal, Holyfield. Oh, come on. Okay, I'm getting excited. Pause for the cause. Or that, or maybe my coffee is just like hella strong. So, all right, so put this here, because I'm like, y'all gotta see what I'm saying. Like, we gotta figure this out, because freaking Walter starting stuff, gotta be starting something, right? All right, get this out the way. Okay, now is it? Now you want to show the gosh darn screen, because I will punch you in your throat. This is how I talk to my cameras. We get abusive out here in these streets. All right, HDMI settings now need to be off because I don't need to show the icons. HDMI. All right, cool. All right, if y'all have your cameras ready, we're going through class apparently right now. With Walter Jeanette starting fights. All right, cool. Actually, let's do a picture-in-picture version. And we'll change that to wide. And we will adjust that on the fly. Let's do custom. You know what we'll do? Well, I guess wide may be fine. We'll see. No, let's do side by side. My bad, y'all. I'm trying to decide on how I want to do this in real time. Let's just go full screen. How about that? The hell with all of it. Okay. Make sure I get you visible. Alrighty. For those of you just joining, Merry Christmas to you. All right. We still have to adhere to the minimum focusing distance rule. Alrighty. So hopefully y'all can see the camera screen. All right. All right. So what we're talking about is this AF off icon right here. When, though, you go into the menu and select USB streaming, you will see like this screen is on the thing, but you may be able to see that turns on. So if we press that icon button at the top, yes, cancel, you see it for a smash second, you see it's on and then it goes off. So that is a thing. If Walter knows something that I don't know, I want to know, because we can help everybody while we're here live to figure this out of the why it is not showing. Because I've tested a lot of different settings and I've not been able to get it to enable. I've read the manual. And Walter, I'm gonna punch you if you're wrong. I'm just saying. He's saying gremlins are there. I hope not. So I'm gonna do a video real quick just to make sure I'm not tripping. I think you tripping, because I promise you I didn't been through this camera in and just through it. Saying, which package of Kajabi did you start with? I don't remember, because it was also a promo package. Exactly. Saying, change your HDMI output so that we can see what's on the back of your camera. Well, here's the thing though, Camera Junkie. The point is not to show the 1080p, it's to show the 4K. That's all I was saying. Like it wouldn't matter to go into 1080p because it's not a problem in 1080p. The question on the board right now, 4K 30. Now, again, I would say pay attention to your PC remote function being enabled or disabled and your smartphone connection setting being enabled or disabled, because those do impact other settings when you're getting ready to do stuff regarding streaming. Saying, you guys taking face and talking face and eye detect what? So if you're just joining, yeah, it's probably a little weird if you just joined. So troubleshooting, Q&A, whatever. Question came up. Somebody asked, why can't you get 4K 30 frames per second when you are live streaming on the ZVE10? Well, across the board, even with my A6600, the rules are the same. So it doesn't matter that you're going to get, you're still going to, you're going to have to deal with like a wide autofocus kind of a thing, because you'll notice the little tick marks on the side of your thing. So what I'm saying is, let's see if I can get this for you to see it. And I may just cover this black so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So if you pay attention, you see how you notice you got those little tick marks in the corner up there around the box and whatnot. So you're in a wide autofocusing area. Even autofocus C is still enabled over here. That's still on. Face and eye tracking is not enabled. I'm telling y'all what the manual says and my experience. So I'm just saying, if you see something different, tell me. I'm open. I am open to being wrong. But I'm telling you, more than likely, I'm probably not. Because I've done extensive testing with these cameras and I've read the manuals. And the manuals say as such. But if you know something I don't, I'm open to being wrong. Saying, just coming in mid trying to figure this out. No worries. Saying James, I think that may be it. I'm about to try it though. Walter over here starting trouble. What's going on, Anurag? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Saying good evening. Saying, is it switching to 1080p when you go live? No. Let's not confuse everybody. So if you're coming in late, here's the deal. The question came in. If you are doing 4K 30 frames per second and you are live streaming via HDMI out, why does the face and eye detection go off? Meaning the boxes around your face, why is that going off? If you notice in the top left corner of the camera, you will still see the autofocus continuous is enabled. You're now in the wide, almost like the wide zone detection autofocus there. You are not in face and eye. Will it still detect you? Sure. As far as picking you up in focus, yes. But you will not see the face and the eye box on your face in the camera. That's the thing. Walter said that he sees it on his camera. I'm telling Walter he ate too many Krispy Kreme donuts and didn't share with us. And so we are not on one accord. He did not tell us that the hot sign was on. So we're trying to figure out if Walter sees it and there's something that I missed or didn't know. We're trying to figure that out and figure out what Walter has on his settings to figure that out. Because I think Walter is trolling right now. I think Walter's trolling because white chocolate is great and dark chocolate is disgusting. Yeah. So we will see. We will see. In the meantime, catching up, saying I have face tracking in 4K, a 6100, not autofocus in video. No, this is only video. This is only video and not A6100s either. A61, 64, I already tested those and stuff as well. Even the A66, specifically ZVE10. So if you got your ZVE10, have fun. But we'll see. Saying 4K, 1080p, both look the same after uploading to YouTube. You got to have one switch to 4K. Also knowing that YouTube introduces compression, so it's kind of condensing stuff down. If you do a 1080p video in a 4K, sometimes it's very fine details is really what it amounts to. It's really fine details. Untrained eyes won't be able to see anything. And most of the time when you upload to YouTube, you just know if the video looks good or not at the end of the day. So we'll see. All right. So what is going on, Digital Glow? Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying only if you're watching 1080p because of a low resolution screen. The screen does matter also. So in a daily basic, 1080p is good enough for 120 frames, 60 frames per second. I can add much clarity in DaVinci Resolve editing because I need good, powerful PC to handle the recording in 4K. That also is true. And so your mileage may vary with the what you need to do and stuff. For most people, they still are going to, most people are still going to use 1080p because it works and it's fine. And especially because when you're thinking about the Sony cameras, and again, this ain't to dog no other brands out, but let's just be honest. When it comes to the Sony cameras, the 1080p looks sharp. And that was one of the big things of why I love the ZV-1. The lens on here is not to be played with. Like, it is actually a really good lens that they have on here. Even though it's collapsible, point and shoot camera, it's a dope camera and it's sharp as hell. So 1080p works fantastic. However, when you switch to 4K, it's even sharper. So I've worked with both files are great. My thing is that, like, when I encourage people education wise to start recording in 4K, it's a lot of reasons that go into that. And mostly you'll see this when I'm doing interviews and when you see us re-upload those re-interview files and snippet on Instagram. Most of your phones, like we just had the iPhone 13 come out. I'm sure Samsung is probably around the corner with it. You also have other companies and stuff that are around the corner with their updates and stuff. So we get into the tech season. When you have these great phones, these great computers and all this extra other stuff, your TVs even, and people are watching content, your analytics will show how people are consuming your content. When we take a video that was in 720p or in 1080p, and we're sharing, we now have, we have that file and whatever they did with their editing and stuff, we don't know. We don't even ask. We also know the difference in quality between our video files and ones we get from interviews, unless that person also, or that company is a video centric company. 720p gets even mushier when you upload it to TikTok or you upload it to Instagram and you're repurposing content. And now if somebody else, like, so somebody will ask, can I share this to my account or whatever too? It's like, okay, it gets even mushier. So how many times can your video file survive a social platform, different social platforms compression without the quality dropping? So if these platforms have to, for us to have free live streaming for as long as we want, free uploads, as many videos as we want, and on, I'm starting up here. If I'm going to start with my video files, most of everybody else stuff kind of start down here, which means when we all get through compression, your stuff is going to look worse because you're starting down here with the original source file. The source file always needs to be fantastic. So even when it gets crunched in again on social platforms and stuff, it needs to look good. I've even had people steal my YouTube videos and post it to their own channel, word for word. Or take out the bits where it's my voice or, you know what I'm saying? Not like where you sourcing from somebody else's video and you're giving them credit or whatever. But I mean, like, rip the whole video. upload it to their channel and stuff like that. Obviously, it's a copyright issue or whatever, which has been dealt with, but it's just the idea. And that video still looks good, even though they stole it. So you got to think about your overall system and flow, and what do you really care about when it comes to your brand and the videos that represent your brand. I know when we show up on social, we want to be looking stellar, because it does make a difference when it comes to the who we work with and who chooses us for different things in our company, and why we get selected for certain things. Because if somebody's going to invite me for a talk or a keynote, and they say it needs to be recorded, or they say it needs to be live, they know they're getting a stellar looking video file comparative to whoever else, and it can survive when they upload it to these different platforms. So that's the thinking when it comes to the video qualities and why we, work with 4K. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm very, very curious and looking into, like I said, like last week, we talked about like future goals and stuff like that when it comes to content, channel, or whatever. I don't have a doubt like 6K, 8K conversations are going to start to happen in the company. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, just because I don't do what everybody else do, I do what best represents my brand. And you have to make that decision for yourself and stuff like that in your content as well. All right, moment of truth. So, okay, so when the capture card is connected, then correct, you lose. Walter, I wish I had that. Womp, 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 womp. Actually, I think I do. Or like the sad trombone or something. Starting trouble in the live. Put Walter in timeout. Moderators, put Walter in timeout. Saying I misunderstood the streaming part. Take a nap, Walter. You laughing now. Everybody in the chat say, thanks, Walter. I'm open to learning new things. That's the thing. It's like here's the point of it all. As a video educator, and I would encourage y'all, even for when y'all doing y'all stuff with your brands and your businesses or whatever, don't be too much of an expert that you can't learn from your community. You know what I'm saying? Like if Walter was legit, I'm like, shoot, let's go. Let's all figure this out. Let's all get it right. And the video would drop today. Shout out to Walter Jeanette, link to the channel. He figured out such and such. Here's where I was wrong, and here's the correct info. Let's keep it moving. So I see some people that they'll block you. I know I'm right. Block in the chat. All good, Walter. Hey, it was a close call. Saying to all info, to show all the info in the back of your camera, menu, setup settings, HDMI display, turn it to on. So for those of you that don't know how to do that. But that's the thing. It's like 1080p capture card. That's the only problem. Saying just in English, just suggest me one single prime lens that can do all things for me in the ZV-E10. Why are you giving me a loaded question? Why are you giving me a loaded question? True answer to your question. There is no such thing as a one and do everything lens. And here's why. Because when you think about the one and done or your do everything lens, it sincerely is based on the creator. Because a 16 millimeter, like the Sigma 16, and even though it's rectilinear with the thing, with as far as the lens is concerned, you still have to take into an account the lens compression as well as the lens distortion at the wide and on the edge, as well as in the direct center. That impacts images and videos as well. You also need to take into an account, even with clear image zoom, that'll get you up to about 32 millimeters still at an f1.4. Those factors still exist. Moving on, if you need it beyond that range, you're screwed if your feet cannot go further. If you're at a ridge, and even with clear image zoom, you're still not getting the whatever that you want or what have you, you're screwed. So there is no one and done everything lens that I could recommend to you. Even, again, like I can give you some good lens options, but you need to give me an actual true use case of how you plan to use it. Because some lenses have stabilization in the lens, OSS, optical steady shot, and some do not. Like your Tamron 11 to 20 millimeter f2.8 and the Sigma 16. The Tamron, even like the Sony 20 millimeter f, I think those are like a f2 or f something like that. Let me see what that is. There's no such thing as a one and done thing. You need to figure out your right focal length, and then I can give you some recommendations. So unfortunately, I don't give blind recommendations to where it's just like, get this one, it's the best one. No, because it may be wrong for how you plan to use it. What do you need a lens for? Ain't no do everything. Because when I go and I record my talk in Albany, the 16 millimeter is not the do everything lens if it can't be up close. Even with clear image zoom, it still may not reach. Which means my 16 to 70 Zeiss lens f4 will do the job. Or a Tamron 17 to 28 millimeter f2.8 would do the job. And if I needed clear image zoom on top of that, or even held the ZV-E10 with the 24 to 70, adding clear image zoom up to 140 millimeters. So there's no such thing as a do everything lens. You need to find your right focal length. If you got a kit lens, where do you default? The kit lens will tell you where you zooming in. It'll give you the actual millimeters. You need to figure out your right focal length. And if you haven't bought it yet, get it with the kit lens. Figure out where you sit when it comes to a focal length, and then go get that lens at that focal length. So unfortunately, that's just not me. I'm not going to throw out some random brand name, number, lens, focal length. There's no such thing. Because sometimes it is, even for the 35, at clear image zoom, at 32 millimeters on the Sigma 16, those of you that are nerdy enough to keep up with what I'm saying, it does not look like a 35 millimeter at f1.8. As close as the 35 and 32 is at that point, they don't look alike. Lens compression still matters. Clear image zoom is going to crop in on the image. So it's no such thing. You need to figure out your right focal length. So that's what I'm going to say to that one. So Walter is trolling for sure. See, James, no. Donuts were good, though. You are not invited to next year's cookout. When we do the meetup in New York next week, you're not invited to the cookout. No, they say, hey, you want to let Walter, is that Walter Jeanette? Is that Walter Jeanette? No, don't let him in. It said, morning, which camera would you recommend for someone with no knowledge of cameras, ZV-1 or ZV-E10? Well, Miss Lisa Cosby, good to see you. And glad that you are here. Well, if you have no knowledge of cameras and stuff in general, I'm not going to tell you to buy a camera yet. Y'all find myself going to be pretty controversial. So I wouldn't say get one or the other, because again, what is your intended use case? Meaning, how do you intend to use your camera? The difference between this camera and this camera, ZV-E10, ZV-1, these are very different cameras. In this, even though the specs, the insides, the internals are relatively the same, the specs are going to be the same, but the uses are different. Somebody can do all of their live streams at an at-home studio setup. Even James buzzed in chat. He knows. He and I have done production work with the ZV-1, and it looks flawless. But you have a baked-in lens that goes from 24 to 70 millimeters, and it's at an f2.8, f1.7 to f2.8. So at the longest range, I know none of this is not going to make sense to you, but that means when you zoom as far as the lens can go, it'll say f2.8, which impacts your blurry background and stuff like that, okay? And light sensitivity. The difference is between this and this, one of the major ones, I just did that. I took the lens off, and now I could put the Sigma 16 on there, or my Zeiss 16 to 70, or other lenses for different use cases. It's a different body style. Yeah, it still has the flip out screen and all of that, but it's a little bit different. Lightweight, both are still very lightweight, but the how you intend to use it really does matter, because the how you create now as a creator that doesn't have a lot of knowledge around the stuff, and that is 1,000% okay. You will not find no shade over here. Nobody's going to hate on you. or make you feel less than. Some of us are very nerdy and geek out. Like me, Walter, and James could talk for days about camera stuff and whatever. But here on the channel, the whole purpose of the video simplified concept, I want you to understand, like, before you go buy, just based off of our excitement and the who we suggest that these cameras are for, I really want you to know, how do you plan to create? Do you plan to sit at your desk, kind of like this here, and you have a tripod, and that's primarily what you're going to use it for? That may be how you create for the next year. What do you envision for your brand? Or if you're using this for your church or nonprofit or something, what does that entail? For me at that point, I would go with something like the ZV-E10, because I want something that is not just good for my now and comfort zone now, but when I reach a new comfort zone and you become a different creator a year later, hell, in 6 months, 30 days, stick around long enough, you'll be a different creator. You'll have learned different things and new ideas. I don't want you to be limited with what is possible, because you want that Sigma 16 look or the 35 f1.8 and, you know, all of the different things. You now want different options that you didn't think of initially. So for me, in that case, I would say the ZV-E10 to provide ways for options. If you know, I just want to capture some stuff when I'm traveling. I'm going to be going, out and about. I do want to do the occasional live stream, and I do want to record videos. I'm not trying to buy a whole bunch of lenses. I don't even want to buy one. I don't want to think about lenses and stuff at all. ZV-1 at that point, because it still can live stream and you can still do a whole bunch of fantastic things with it, but you never have to buy another lens because there's one already built in here and you're fine with as is. But I just want you to be very comfortable with what you decide, and don't buy just based on excitement in a video online. Really think about how you plan to create now, what's your vision for your brand, and how you may think of creating moving forward. 2021 is about to be here. And not 2021, 2022. 2022, like we are in our company right now, we talking 2022 stuff now. End of the year stuff is already on the calendar. So really think about next year, this time next year, what kind of creator do you want to be? What kind of content and stuff? What do you foresee maybe happening? If you say, well, I just don't know, I'd probably get the ZV-E10 to give space to that, just for options and so forth. That's the best that I would give there. Saying, thanks, Walter. Diana needs more coffee. Miss Eileen, no, you can't agree with Walter. Saying, thanks for this. I've been debating on whether or not I should start filming in 4K. Yeah, it makes a difference. Also, when you're recording in 4K, the thing to consider is that when you're doing these 4K recordings, you need bigger memory cards. You now recognize if your computer can handle that and what that upgrade path looks like, introducing that into the business. Also, Wi-Fi speeds, not even Wi-Fi, Ethernet, still connected to Ethernet for uploading. When you upload a video, how much time is eating into it? When you switch to 4K video, you now really recognize when you're making a decision on doing videos or not, like where your bottlenecks are in your system. Because it had been a while and I forgot they had to throttle my stuff for me to upgrade. I was like, my bad. Bring the new stuff. Well, let's get it the next week. Because I'm like, yo, you're doing like terabyte stuff on a daily basis. What are you doing? I work. I do video work. So yeah. Those are, you're nerdy enough to keep up with me, YouTube Gold. Hey, it is what the TI is. Saying, you busy today? Yes, I am. I'm having lunch. That's what I'm talking about. Prairie Life in the building. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Oh, super chat from Miss Sylvia Nixon. Because you are amazing. Why, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. JFK Productions saying, blessed day, people. Have a good day. And for those of you that don't know about Ecamm, we have to do this every week, courtesy of JFK Productions. So what you can do, if you want to change a comment, you double click on it and you can change what somebody says, click save, and now it's the right thing to say. Blessed people, have a good white chocolate day. Why, thanks, JFK Productions. We sincerely appreciate you being here on the stream. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. So, alrighty. Other questions. Let's see here. Other questions before we wrap up, because otherwise, I don't mind wrapping up early. Those of you that's in the course, Mastering Micro session tomorrow kicks off at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be having our live session for the Mastering Micro course. Those of you that want to get in for the next session, masteringmicro.live. If you go over here to masteringmicro.live, you can see the promo video, the details, what gets included. The next session begins on October the 4th, which is starting in a couple days. So if you want to join the wait list to get details of when the cart opens and when it becomes available, make sure that you do so. Otherwise, who knows? Who knows what will happen afterwards? It may go away. It may go away. No, but it's going to, the cart will open, but it may close. I'm not sure if I want to do additional live sessions with this one or not moving forward. So, but you'll get access to a replay of one of the community calls and strategy sessions there. So we'll see. So saying every week, that's okay. The magic of Ecamm. I can keep correcting these all day long. So Merry Christmas to you. Glad that you're here. JFK Productions, we appreciate that you are a white chocolate enthusiast, as many of us are. You know, it's great. Saying hi, Diana. My Rode mic has a slight buzz. Any settings I can change for this? Ooh, okay. The M50 and your Rode mic have a slight buzz. First and foremost, how old is that cable? You look at this cable here. This is actually not even a Rode mic. This is the Movo mic, just with the Rode accessories on it. It's kind of crazy, but it's the new Rode microphone. The ones that are kind of they're bendable and they're flat. These are not the scrunchy ones. So the cable got updated on this microphone. So when is the last time you updated your microphone cable? If it is not updated, if you don't have any more, buy some new cables. Like, first of all, that's just good to have anyway, because those that have the cables that are removable, swap it out and see. Also, connect your microphone up to something like your phone. So if you have a phone with the headphone port on there, you can test it directly, just like with the Voice Memos app. That's a good way to test. If you have a computer that has a microphone port in it, you can test that way. If you have something like a Rodecaster Pro or recorder with a headphone import, test that way. I would highly encourage you to test your microphone and that cable with another source. Now, if you notice that it's not in any of those other devices, you know it's the connection port on your M50 that may be weak. And to test that again, see if you got another kind of microphone, that TRS cable with the two black bands at the end. See if you have another microphone by chance. If you don't, then, you know, probably can rule out that it's, especially if the mic and the cable's already, you can probably source that it's that thing. If you got a lapel mic, maybe try that. But if you notice a buzzing sound also, that can come into play when you are dealing with audio interference coming in from power sources. If you hear like a bzzz, something just like that, or very close, audio source and video and power source may be touching, and they shouldn't be. When you have audio cables and power cables, they should never cross. They need to run parallel to each other and need to have plenty of space. And if you have a long enough cable, you're extending that from your camera, it's touching the floor, and then you have a lapel or something on you or whatever, get that cable off the ground. Because sometimes, depending on the environment, I don't know about the ports in whatever the space is, as far as the power adapters and all that stuff, it's very easy to pick up audio interference from things. And simply sometimes not crossing the wires, picking that cable off the floor can help with doing that. So if you've been testing it with an AC power, test it with the battery. So you got to run through some tests first to see what that is. But more than likely, if you've been using that cable for a while, you haven't updated it, get a new cable. I just would get a new cable and go that route. All right. Dang, I was just caught up. How did I lose it? Because it was JFK Productions' fault. That's why. Okay. Saying, what the hell? Change a comment. Slow down. That magic. Next time you do. Oh, yeah. So let's go back. Okay. So those of you know we use Ecamm Live for live streaming. when you have somebody that comes into your live stream and they're starting commotion, okay, disrupting the flow of your community vibe, with Ecamm, if you double click, you can either click the pencil tool here, or you can just double click on the comment and you can go here and just select it and type over it and say white, because white chocolate is better. Then click save, and there you go. So, you know, Prairie Life, if you ever have an issue with people, you know, typing something that they shouldn't, you can always change it when you pull it up on the screen. So good evening, all. The Random Video Channel. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Alrighty. Saying, but all of the other considerations with 4K are letting me know I need to do a short test video first to make sure everything can handle a lot. Yeah, so handle it. Yes, if you're trying to make that transition from 1080p to 4K, don't do a 1 minute video, because sometimes that won't be enough. Do like a 5-minute video. And here's the thing. Don't just let it sit and record nothing for like 5 minutes. Like, actually sit down and record a video that you need to upload. Not like one that has to be uploaded tomorrow, so you gotta do everything now. But like, let's say your video for 2 weeks from now. Sit down and record that video. It's a tips video, something that could be like tip 1, 2, 3 or whatever, right? That's about 5 to 7 minutes. When you do that video, now you have stuff to actually go into, take into editing. Even if you're using iMovie or Final Cut or Filmora, it doesn't matter. Because what's going to happen is it's not just the initial processing of that base file. It's taking into an account that base file in addition to the titles, the overlays, the transitions. If you are a little more advanced in your editing, things like keyframing and all of that extra other stuff. Because if you don't take that stuff into an account, you'll think with the raw processing of just a base video with nothing going on, that it's fine. Actually edit like a real video, or even do 3 minutes. Actually edit like a true video so you can fully see what that 4K process looks like. The other thing is that when you are, let's go here. Also, real quick tip, let's pull up Final Cut real quick. We'll dive into this. So if you have any Final Cut or editing questions, issues, whatever, we're gonna dive into that for just a second. The other thing is that when you get into your camera, if you're using a Sony camera, you have what's called proxy recording. I talked about this in the video that I brought up about the training for using the ZV-E10. Let's hook this up real quick, see, so that you can see. Let me turn HDMI info on. All right. Hope y'all having a good Saturday. It's a good day to have a good day, right? Alrighty. So over here on the ZV-E10, when you go into your camera, you'll see, like, for those of you that are trying to figure this stuff out, you're new to all of this stuff, your first tab is primarily going to be your photo based settings, autofocus based settings as well. This second purple tab is generally going to hold your movie based settings, customization settings, and things like that. And then you also have like your network that is going to deal with, like you said, the PC remote, smartphone connection, and stuff like that. Playback is usually like when you're reviewing your photos and your videos, stuff, settings with that. The suitcase or toolbox, I always call it a suitcase, but it's actually a toolbox, but I'm calling it the suitcase. The suitcase, oh my bad, let me take the buy me a coffee thing off. The suitcase is going to be your setup menu. And then you have the my menu, which is anything that you quickly want to access. If you want to scroll through any of these top tabs really quickly, just hit the FN function button on your camera. Now, when we were changing it from 1080p to 4K and stuff, that's these settings and stuff here. Now, I'm hoping that I can get access to this based on being in HDMI, but it should. So on this tab, number 2, page number 2, right here where it has it, you'll see proxy recording is set to on in my camera. The reason why this is set to on is because when I'm going through and I'm doing a video, especially in 4K, this is why this conversation matters. When I'm doing a video and I'm in 4K, especially if you all are dealing with video files that are your computer are now struggling to deal with, or you have multiple video files and stuff, whatever. Especially for those of you that do long content, podcasts and such. In Final Cut Pro, as well as in Adobe Premiere Pro, these proxy recordings can be brought into your Final Cut or Adobe. I don't know about Filmora because it may be too basic. Filmora Pro may have it, but I've not been in the Filmora ecosystem for a very long time now, so I only know Final Cut. But in Final Cut Pro and Adobe especially as well, these pro editing softwares, you can bring in those proxy footage files, which are 720p video files. So they're small. And then you have your main 4K file. It's a duplicate. It records both simultaneously in your camera. You'll never know that it's even happening. So when you open your folder in your computer, you now see, I should probably just show you. How about that? Because the explanation takes longer than just to gosh darn show you, which would take 2.32 seconds. So those of you in the Sony squad, y'all know, because you got Sony cameras. So let's do quick recording. All right, testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, and 3, and stop. All right, so now I have a recording on the camera. And if you want a quick tip for the ZV-E10 and you never know like which way to put the memory card in, always think the label side to the left, your left. Just think label to the left, and that's how your memory card goes in. I meant to upload that as a YouTube short yesterday, but the timing of things. Plus, I gotta get ready to go to New York. So those of you that be in New York, we're doing an Ecamm Live meetup. I'll be there. So if you live in the New York area, if you're coming to People Video, let me know. If you're gonna be in the New York area, let me know. You could come to probably the Ecamm Live meetup that we're gonna be doing. And I will be there for a limited time only. So hope that you come by if you're available. Don't get in trouble with your husbands and your wives, because I ain't here for none of that. None of that. Do you feel me? All right. Let me get this pulled up here. Let's go over here. All right. Alrighty. So now y'all can see. Let's make this a bit bigger. Alrighty. So y'all should have a good viewing size here. So when you record a video in your camera, in one of the Sonys, you can enable the proxy recording. When you go over here to the M4 root, the clip is where you'll see your main video files here. The subfolder, you'll see they have the exact same name. So I name my file structure DG _ ZV-E10, and then it'll be the file name, and you see that S03 or the whatever. Those are exactly the same files. So 859, stay open. 859, right? They're the same. I think I need to maybe adjust that one. We'll see. Hopefully that does it. But the 859 files, all that stuff is the same. It's a proxy recording. So this was me recording whatever to the desk just now. And you'll see this file, even though it's 720p, 2.48 gigabytes. Okay, so I'm just saying it for a few seconds. Oh no, this is not one. This is a 34 minute one. Yeah. So, oh, I know it is. This is the vlogs. These are the vlogs. That video file is down here, but that's a good example. Let's stick with this one. So, a 34-minute video, right? 2.48 at 720p. So this is the proxy file. File 859 over here, 34-minute video. This is in 1080p, 13.27 gigabytes. So you can see the drastic difference, even just from 720p to 1080p. Now, if I put that in 4K, it's a whole other story. So if you look at the clip that I did down here, that is just a couple seconds. You're looking at 8.4 megabytes for like 6 seconds of the video. Go over here to this one. Same 6-second file. This one in 1080p, 37.8 megabytes. So I have to pull this one and put it in 4K. And then you can see, like, for real, the drastic difference in the size. So let's do a quick recording in 4K. And you'll see what that file size difference is. We're not going to go for a minute because that'll take too long. Change this to 4K. 4K, I do 4K 24. I'll do 30. And 100 megabits is what I use. Or megabytes, whatever. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Recording. All right, so that's about 5 seconds. All right. Take this card out. Put it back in the la computadora. All right. So now we got a 4K file. Okie dokie. Let's go back over to la computadora. All right. Yeah. Okay. Can you see that now? Yeah, cool. All right, so same thing. Go over here to the sub file. This one down here, 8.4 megabits, right? Clip, 88.1 megabits per second. Like, you can see, like, it takes for it to be that short. Like, it's crazy the difference. So again, if we take just a 4K file, it's 88 megabytes. Now, that don't mean a whole lot to you if you don't know, again, like, the drastic difference. But just to show you, like I said, again, we had 1080p files. This one's 1 second. That's 57. Let's do this one up here again, just for example's sake. 34-minute video, 13.27 gigabytes. 34-minute video, 2.48 gigabytes. So it's a lot when it comes to the storage of the stuff. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying in the memory card video yesterday or day before yesterday, whenever I did that video. When you get into 4K or just into 1080p, if you're doing like serious video files, you at least, at a bare minimum, want to be getting cards, memory cards that are 128 gigabytes. It makes a huge difference when you're dealing with these video file sizes, because that makes the difference between you having like 2.5 hours capacity or something where you have like 5 hours or 10 hours, depending on if you're recording in 1080p or 4K. And you say, well, I'm not going to record nothing that long. Here's what doesn't get taken into account when people are recording videos, and that's your mistakes. When you're constantly doing retakes of something, or you just say, screw it, I'm going to start this video over again. Now you're running into a situation where your memory card is getting full. I do not suggest that when you are going through recording and re-recording that you do delete on the camera, because in your frustration, in that mindset, you will accidentally delete the good take or a part where it was good and now you're in editing and you wish that you could pull that little snippet that you got rid of. If you're going to delete something, wait till after you're done with the video. Make sure you got it in editing and you know that you don't need it. Because once it's gone, it is gone. It is a wrap. So 128 gigabytes and 256 gigabyte cards are usually what I recommend. That's even personally what I use. It just gets you a lot of leeway when it comes to recording and stuff. And give yourself, if you're new to recording videos, self-recorded videos especially, give yourself cues to when you did something right or when you did something wrong. If I have a severe like mess up, I'll do like this. Because when I'm scanning and scrolling through that video file, you'll just see a bunch of little snippets in that thumbnail on that video file on the timeline. That's just my hand. So without having to listen to anything, I can scroll through the video and just see, I'm like, oh, all of that before that, basically I'm telling myself, get rid of it. So I say, cool. So at the hands, get rid of everything that was before it. So now I'm not wasting my time in editing. And you can talk to yourself in the cues like, okay, I only like that last little bit that I just said. That part I want to keep. Okay, now I'm getting ready to record the part that I need to retake. Because I don't know if y'all edit same day, next day, same week, or later in the month. Chances are you don't remember what you were doing. Like, you don't remember the mess ups as clearly. A lot of the videos I've seen recently record, edit, and uploaded in the same day. We got videos in a tank that's ready to go, but I'm like, I want this to go out first. And it's like, I want it to go out today. I got time today, record, edit, and upload it in the same day. So if that's the case, then it's fresh on my mind. I know what I just did. If it's a week later, even, hell, it could be 4 days later. I look at that video file, I don't remember what the stuff is. So even if you have a great memory, you're not going to remember all the little intricacies of your recording. Give yourself cues and hints to help yourself out when it comes to the recording. Some people like to do the clap, and so they'll look for the big spike in the audio. The hands up, and I'm just like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, now get rid of whatever was in front of that. Or when I get it right, then I'm like, okay, now that's the take that I want to keep. I want to keep that intro. All right, moving on. I'll give cues to myself in editing. I do the same thing when I'm doing my editor. Like, okay, Erica, screw all the rest of that, because you're going to get the whole video file. So it's like, screw all the rest of that. Okay, let's start from here and just move on. So that should help when it comes to editing. Sam, hold on. My apologies. I'm jumping ahead. Saying there was a new mic buzz out of the box. Microphone then. You know it's the microphone then. Still test it just to make sure or whatever, because if it's as simple as a cable, then that's one thing. But if it's new, just return it and like get the whole shebang back. You know what I'm saying? 30 days or we're doing that warranty period. Go ahead and get you a new one. If it's like just new outside of the return period for wherever you purchased it, Rode is pretty good with their warranties and such. So you can get that return. If you don't want to wait and go through that, you can just buy a new cable or test it and see. But yeah, so that's my whole thing. If that's the case with your audio. Question, spent the day navigating contracts, something I hardly hear creators talk about. Why is that? Because it gets into legal issues and we can't give legal advice. And even though we'll say this is not legal advice, but here's what I put in my contracts, kind of a deal. People will take that and go write something and get a deal. And now they look at you sideways because they took your advice. And you will have people that do silly stuff as far as purchase something and like they trying to get back at you or whatever for, you know what I'm saying? Like you gave them wrong stuff. People don't listen when it comes to because they like, well, that sounds good. You use it. It works for you. I'm trying to get where you at. I can do what you do. You don't know why we have the, stuff in place when it comes to our clauses and contracts and so forth. From speaking to like the keynotes and stuff that I do, to doing a talk or whatever, even like liabilities. You for real need an attorney or somebody that understands the jargon and the language and in your specific state and region. Furthermore, some of y'all are in other countries. So it's not something that creators talk about. I don't think, one, because a lot of them aren't maybe familiar with the whys and the woes. I studied contract writing under a mentor for 2.5 years. So I understand the jargon. I can write a legal contract and clause and fully understand and have attorneys look at it and be like, okay, I know exactly what I'm writing. And there are some words when it comes to the legalese of it all that in regular English don't mean the same as when it's in a contract. Very basic words. So you need something like a legal dictionary to understand why a clause states something in a certain way. So most people don't talk about the contracts because either they don't have them, they have somebody and they have them in place, but they don't understand, or it's just like trying to mitigate and stay out of the hell of somebody saying, well, that's wrong, or that ain't, it's just like some conversations ain't worth it. in my client calls, if a client asks me for certain things or they ask for suggestions, we'll talk about it. I still refer them to an attorney, but I'll let them know here's what I use and why, kind of a deal. But that's why there's there are channels out there that talk about different stuff, different attorneys out there. On TikTok, though, there's actually really good content from attorneys. From when it comes to creators, you have Ian Corzine, who his headline and stuff is Your Social Media Lawyer. He does great content when it comes to stuff like that, and I highly encourage anybody. Let's look up Ian Corzine. He keeps up with like the social media laws and stuff like that. I think it's honestly just because most creators don't understand the legal side of they don't read terms and conditions. They don't read the stuff. If I get a contract from a company that wants me to speak, I understand what the clauses mean. And I'll be like, I can't sign that, but here's my content clause that if I'm going to do this, this is what I'm saying needs to be in place, and made changes. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the thing is like most people don't know what they're signing. They don't understand that side of stuff, or they got an attorney that just kind of handles what they want and or need. But if you want to get more insight into that, I highly encourage you all to check out Ian Corzine's channel. Ian does a great job with, especially as when YouTube stuff happens, when Instagram changes happen or whatever, Ian will do a lot of videos about a lot of stuff, and he himself is a creator, so he gets it. So I'd highly suggest checking out Ian Corzine, and it's just youtube.com/IANCORZINE, Ian Corzine, if you want to check this out. So even like David Dobrik and a lot of stuff, that kid, he's into some stuff, ain't he? So, but if you know, you know. But yeah, that's why. That's why. Saying great suggestion to test your other device. Yep, glad to be of service. Okay, so I just wanted to know, if I wanted a new first camera for streaming on Twitch, self-taping auditions, making green screen videos, occasional outdoor clips, with the ZV-10 work? I also can afford the A7 III. Benjamin, welcome to the stream. Glad that you're here. What I would say is this. If you're streaming to Twitch, the only thing that you need is something that clean HDMI. The ZV-10 has that. If you're talking about green screen, I hope that you also either already have lights or you're accounting that into the budget, because you not only just want lights for yourself, but to get a good keying of the background for the green screen, meaning like you're cut out properly and then they can fully see like the game. I'm assuming it's like, let's say a game. You don't want any great green fringing around your hair or around you or your chair and stuff like that. So you need to have a light that lights your green screen also. If you want one that lights both, then you're probably going to be overexposed, like you are too bright and stuff. ZV-10 will work for that. And it's not just because it's new, it sincerely will work for that. I wouldn't even suggest getting the A7 III. The A7 III is honestly a fantastic camera. It doesn't have a flip out screen. It doesn't have the USB streaming. So if you ever travel or something like that or whatever, I know some gamers, they even travel like when they traveling, they even game when they're traveling and stuff. You know, if that's a thing, outdoor clips, yeah, it can handle it. And then also A7 III is a full frame camera. This one's APS-C, which means it has like a smaller sensor size. Think of it in French fries, the way I describe it: small, medium, and large. Small is your micro four thirds. Medium, APS-C, and full frame is kind of like the large when it comes to sensor sizes. Will you see the difference? It'll be more so in how much you see the width. But if you get something in that particular setup, the Sigma 16 would be good for that if you're going to be relatively close. How I imagine how most gaming scenes and stuff is, and I watch gaming and stuff like that, so I understand the space. And I used to game back in the day, so I never was like recording and stuff, but I used to game back in the day. But yeah, it'll work for you. A7 III is just it's a full frame camera, but it has different limitations. This has eye autofocus in video, whereas the A7 III does not, because it's an older camera. So you'll be able to find those for cheaper, but I think for the price, for what you're trying to do, like, I don't think you need to spend more just because, or get it just because it's full frame. If you got a real reason, even though like after everything is said and done, and you honestly just sincerely want the A7 III, get what you actually truly want. because it's nothing that nobody should be able to say to like make it sound better, because you're still going to look at that camera, look at reviews and stuff, and you'd be like, man, I wish I had got it. Get what you really want. But if you're really truly going off a suggestion of what will work in that scenario, you'll be well pleased with the ZV-E10. It's not a chump in indoor situations. So if you want a darker background and all that stuff, you'll still look great. So that's my suggestion there. So I'm just stuck because I can't figure out which price point is right for me. Everybody's warning me, buy nice or buy twice, but I can't afford up to $2K. Yeah. So if $2,000 is your investment, my thing is this. We're saying buy it right versus buy it twice because it's not even a price factor kind of a thing as to like the being too cheap conversation. It's the understanding that what you need to pull off what you're trying to do, more than likely, most of the time people find that thing and then they'll go say, well, let me go save $50 by getting this other thing that's worse and introduces more problems than the $50 would have solved just getting the new thing. So don't get overwhelmed because of what you see in the videos. Like I'm telling you, I could set up and do gaming. You be up against a wall or a short stand, like this office is not big. I could do gaming in here, set the camera up or what have you. Live stream via HDMI. You're good. Whatever microphone source that you use, you got your keyboard and it can handle whatever it is that you're trying to throw at it. It does 1080p and 4K. So you're not going to lose anything by using the camera. You do want an AC power adapter. With that, I actually have some blog post on the website in addition to my Amazon kit and stuff like that. Let me pull that up real quick for you. Blog. Let's do over this and hissing. So we got, and all I do is type in ZV-E10. I even still look up and use the search on mine because I just got a ton of content out there now. So on the blog, we got as far as the best accessories for the ZV-E10. So the blog is out before the video is. So power, battery options. Looking for cheap? $25 for the Go 9. It's okay. I honestly, I just don't want, I'm telling y'all, I fried a camera playing around with the third-party options, random brands on Amazon. Go 9 is the closest to being a good recommendation. I believe Loria recommends it. So if Loria trusts it, then it's kind of like, okay, I'd be cool with that. So it's an option, $25. My people, I say go for the Gold and get the Sony one. Because if you're going to be using any of these cameras, I just know I've thrown everything at this thing since 2019 and it's held up. I don't have to worry about frying my cameras. I'm using one right now. So that's the options for that. You got your batteries. If you need batteries, you're going to be gaming in a stationary setup. You don't need nothing like that. Elgato Cam Link, $120. If you're going to do the USB streaming, I wouldn't recommend it in your case because gaming, you tend to run long. You can, but I just wouldn't recommend it for long-term use. It just is easier, simpler, and easier on your camera even to just do it via HDMI. But you can. I've done 11 hours on the ZV-E10 via USB. So yeah, it can do it. So it's an option. Pick your preferred preference. What else? Make sure I answer your question. But yeah, the buy nice or buy it twice, buy right, buy it twice conversation. You're not choosing bad between any of them, but price is not the issue here at that point. Most of the time, like I said, price is the issue for most people because they're trying to choose between stuff that's just too cheap for what they're trying to do. They got like $300 and they asking what camera can I get? And I'm like, you don't need to buy a camera for $300 because it ain't nothing good that you're going to buy. You see stuff on Facebook Marketplace and you're going to waste your money. And then you're going to come back and you're going to say, I'm hearing a hissing noise in my audio, or why I can't live stream via USB. Or why is no firmware updates to say because your camera is too old to do anything worthwhile or what you're trying to do. And I'm telling you, I spend my own money on my camera stuff. I remember buying cameras and stuff and investing when I'm having to take away from a bill. Like I get it, truly. I sincerely get it. I'm telling y'all, don't waste your money. For you though, Benjamin, I would say with that extra that you're going to do. So let's say you get this camera. What is it, $699? You can use the kit lens because honestly, here's the thing though, Benjamin, you don't even need like a Sigma 16 to be, let's just be completely honest. You really don't even need the Sigma 16 or something because If you're green screening yourself out, you're keying yourself out, ain't no blurry background to be had, because it ain't even gonna be no background. It's gonna be gone. So when you're keying yourself out, it doesn't matter at that point. They're on my channel. I have Dana Clatney, a video that I did about the best settings for beginners, just kind of, if you're new to video and stuff, trying to figure that out. Hold up, why did I add Joshua Verwer's video to my channel? So accidentally added Joshua Verwer's to the playlist. But there's a video on here. I have done a lot of videos. Camera settings made easy. On this video was recorded using my A6600 and my kit lens for that. Come on, girl, load. Okay, microphone with all these different things. Okay, so you can see the clarity in this video. This video was recorded using a kit lens. So you don't have to worry about your camera not being good enough with the kit lens or the whatever. You can get this for the $6.99 with the kit lens, because you're going to be blurring the background out. Not blurring the background, you're going to be blowing it out anyway with the key. So if you're using like like it's perfectly sharp, and this is shot on the kit lens, nobody's complaining about the quality in the comments. You can go read them for yourself, if you prefer. But you're not worried about the background blur at that point. So honestly, you don't even need like the Sigma 16. If you want it, by all means, go for the gold. But at that point, you're not even using it because you're keyed out. So you can use the kit lens and be fine, because you still will be in focus. You still will be sharp. As long as you're well lit, you'll still be fine. So use that other money for the microphone that you're wanting to use if you don't already have one, and use it for good power and cabling options. So any data cables, your capture cards, make sure you get good cables for that. And then make sure you get good lighting for yourself. So those are the most important components when it comes to that, especially if you're doing live commentary with the game and stuff like that. So don't freak out. You're in good hands. All right, question. I've been using Adobe Premiere Pro for about 4 years. Was thinking to switch to Final Cut Pro. I'm wondering about suggestions that you may have about this. I'm curious why though. It's not that, I love Final Cut Pro, but most people that use Adobe, they love Adobe. I never did. So I tried it and I was like, the hell with this. But if you want to make a transition from Adobe to Final Cut, my most important thing that I would look at is what's your current workflow? What efficiencies have you built and developed in using this? Or if you haven't, really dived deep into it, then at that point, then you're pretty much okay. My biggest thing is keyboard shortcuts. Cutting your footage, copying and pasting your footage is always going to be like that Control-C, Control-V kind of stuff. But cutting, attaching stuff, or making it more efficient in the edit, there's a video on the channel about that for Final Cut Pro specifically. I would say watch it and check it out. Let's go here. It is right, y'all. Okay, so on the channel, edit videos faster, 3 easy video recording tips, as well as quick shortcuts to edit faster in Final Cut Pro. I'd recommend watching both of those videos. Those will help. But when it comes to the keyboard shortcuts in Final Cut Pro, I'd highly recommend you watch that video, because that again speaks to the workflow. So what are you using and what are you doing in Adobe right now that you like to use or whatever, because you can customize those to be the exact same in Final Cut. I just would check and make sure that, like, write down, what do I use most often when I'm editing? For me personally, I edit with one hand on the keyboard and one hand on the mouse. Unless I'm typing in text, it's always like that. So this hand has certain keyboard shortcuts that it just like the muscle memory kicks in at this point. So I'm knowing like what I want to use and stuff like that, and the mouse is navigating the screen. And so when you're working like that and you're editing a video and your workflow process and stuff, I would look at that. I would test, because you can get a free trial. I believe it's still 30 days with Final Cut Pro. I would test, actually have a real video, not a dummy video, have a real video, like a 3 to 5 minute video, and actually edit in Final Cut in the trial. Don't get a trial and then go watch tutorials and you don't have anything to edit and you like, well, that looks like it could be cool. The watching and the application are two worlds apart. So take a real video that you plan. Hey guys, today I'm gonna give you a quick 90-second tip. If you're just getting started in video, have a system, and boom, riff on whatever. So take that in. What B-roll would you add? What audio would you add? What transitions would you add? Because now you need to think about the most common things that you use. Like you'll see in the last couple videos. Sometimes we're using it now, sometimes we're not. But it's a sound effect that I call doip, just because it makes a doop kind of a noise. So I changed the file of that, name of that, and it's the doip. And there's the fast forward transition. That's only available in Final Cut Pro. So are the tools that you're using, obviously I could convert it so she could use it in Adobe, but that's only available in Final Cut Pro because there's something kind of like I built together to make it make sense for me. Okay, no problem. What are you using transitions wise? Are those Adobe only? Where did you buy those from? Do they have a Final Cut Pro pack that maybe you could, import and use that stuff there? Or what's your replacement? So I actually, when I'm looking at, transitioning from one major software to another, I think through what is my normal flow of how I do stuff. When I'm working in Final Cut Pro, if it's a simple edit, it's a lot of drag and drop. Here's the video, I drag it on the timeline. Here's the audio, I drag that one in. Here's the B-roll, I'm gonna drag that in. And then I'll have, I'll go through and edit from there. If I got all the stuff that once in one folder or whatever, it's real organized, depending on the complexity of the edit I plan, then I drag it all over. If it's proxy files, that's a different workflow. So only you know how you edit and plan to create and stuff like that. Make sure your system is compatible with how you plan to operate in Final Cut Pro and know where those differences are. That's what I would say. Saying, gotta head back to work. Good to see you, Kim Booch. Appreciate you being here in the chat as always. Saying thank you so much for this. Turned on Proxy Recording, my pleasure. I'll have to do a video on that. It's super simple though, and it's super sweet. Like to work with that. It is some stuff you need to do in Final Cut Pro or Adobe. Trying to think, I can't think of the name of the channels right now, but if you look at, oh goodness, Javier Mercedes, I think. Javier Mercedes. He does, and I'm trying to think, did you say you use Final Cut or Adobe? Mercedes. I don't know how to spell his name. I'm so sorry. Here he is. This is Javier. I like Javier. Javier is dope. Javier, and he just hit 100,000 subscribers. So congrats, not that he'll see this, but congrats, Javier. We support you. So on his channel, he does different tutorials, a lot of times around Premiere. And so if you're a Premiere person, I highly recommend Javier's channel. He's really fun, easy to learn from. So what is it? Proxy. If you're an Adobe person, this is your video. 2x video editing speed using the A7 III Proxy record files, Adobe Premiere Pro. So this is who you want to look for if you are a Final Cut Pro person. This is what I recommend. Ripple Training, which they are also dope. Come on, give me the link. Any day now. Okay, here we go. Proxy. Yeah, right here. Using camera generated proxies in FCP, which stands for Final Cut Pro. So if you're a Final Cut Pro person, go check out Ripple Training. This is the video for you. That'll walk you through. They talk about a couple different ways. I'm probably just going to do one way if I do that tutorial, which I probably should do that tutorial. But yeah, it's just I only do one way about that. I don't think stuff needs to be overly complex. And obviously, the whole moniker is video simplified. So that's the whole thing. Said JFK Productions, my attorney told me, dude, it's $250 an hour, but you get the $150 an hour per Clubhouse. Heard that Clubhouse rating. Hey, That's dope. This family, what? Does the resolution increase with a capture card? Oh, okay. I'm trying to read this and I'm like, what are you saying? Okay, I get what you're saying now. Your question is, you're joining the Sony family this year, and you know the ZV-10 USB live streaming is limited to 720p. Does that resolution increase using a capture card? Yeah, you can stream up to 4K as long as your capture card has 4K in it. Meaning the Elgato Camlink 4K is the capture card that you would need to be able to stream in the 4K 30 frames per second, which is the max resolution it is in that frame rate. 4K 30 frames per second, or you can do 24. I do 24, but you need a capture card that can support that. You also need cables that can support that. It will come with a short one, but if you need any amount of space between yourself and the camera, or that's going into something like the CalDigit TS3, which is what I use, which is the USB hub, you need to make sure that your cables support that. So they need to be fast data capable cables that are not cheap in price, but not cheap quality. So, and make sure whatever hub and stuff that you get is not cheap quality and can't support those fast speeds. Otherwise you're going to lose that trying to get that stuff to your camera, not from your camera to your computer. So yeah, you can go at 720p in USB, but if you use Ecamm, you can do 4K via USB. You can change it in the camera, which you saw last Friday maybe, or 2 Fridays ago when I connected it. Saying autocorrect got me. Okay, I understood. We translated because I'm like, what's going on, Devin Chambers? Devin Chambers, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Hello, just good to see you. Glad that you are here. Saying thank you. I've got everything else in place. Lights, capture card, mic, etc. The only thing missing is the camera. You just helped me make a decision on that. Might get a gimbal with the money I save. I heard that. Well, glad to be of service. And saying I appreciate the help. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. The young black professional saying Final Cut. Yeah, Final Cut is dope. Organization is the one main limitation for people. It's good that you mentioned using folders. 100%. Saying easy to learn from might be the highest compliment you can get. I think so. What are your thoughts on coaching and guidance? I do coaching and coaching and consultation. So, I mean, from the student as well as from a teacher perspective, if you are the student, I mean, let me say this correctly. I don't think nobody needs to be some kind of coach or consultation if you don't have a coach, period. And it's not even about like the spending the money aspect of it. It's about remaining coachable and teachable, and always knowing that who you're learning from has a higher authority of the who they're learning from when it comes to their field and profession. Because you always are going to be working with somebody constantly trying to figure it out that may not be raising rates or making business decisions based on stuff that matters, or the reason, or like reasons why they actually should do stuff like that. It may be because they're going broke and they like, I need more money, raise my rates. I mean, I get it, but so that's my whole thing with there. Also being a student, I highly encourage people to have mentors and coaches, and a paid coach specifically. You know what I'm saying? So I've always had a mentor, whether it was paid or somebody that just was investing into me and they didn't take any money or whatever, not even take any money. They didn't receive any money for that exchange. They simply just wanted to invest into me. So I've always had a mentor, and for sure a mentor since I was 22 moving forward. Like, or take that back. It was, I'm saying 22, but it would be since 19. So I've had mentors and I've had coaches. One mentor specifically, like around just different things, aspect of life and stuff. And obviously had levels of success in business. And then specifically like a mentor and a coach around like, here's what's happening in the business. Here's where I need help and blah, blah, blah. But it ain't just like a one and done kind of a thing. Like I'm working with them also. So I highly encourage you to speak to it. So it's something I agree with. What are the signs of quality cable? Price? It's usually just like a good brand. Most of the time. So if I'm using audio cables, like audio stuff is like usually known what's tried and true or whatever. You have brands like Hosa, or even stuff like by Behringer, Audio-Technica, or whatever kind of stuff. If it's XLR, you're looking at stuff that's like properly shielded, and, you know, protected in that way. A cheap cable, I'm mostly saying like, is you made a decision based on price instead of looking at the specifications of the cable. Is it shielded? Is it grounded? If it's kind of like XLR, what kind of protections does it have? Not just like it's a cute color and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you made a little bit of a stronger thinking process of picking that cable, essentially. If I'm getting most of these cables, like a USB-C for something, for example, it's able to transfer data as well as able to power the device or the whatever, and it does so at a rapid pace. So it has good speeds. And that's not to say there's no third-party brands that can't. There's actually one I recommended by JS Aux or JSAUX. I like these cables a lot. I have all of them. So these cables are dope, but it wasn't about picking the brand. It's about picking the quality of what they're producing. And so I got USB-C, I got micro, I got USB type A, I have Thunderbolt, all the different ones. Because it's not only that it's braided cable, but it's reinforced at the tip. It's a solid metal tip at the end, not just the here. And then this part here is like plastic or something. It's like, no, it's metal all the way through here. That is not only braided, so it helps with the flexibility of the cable, but it's also protected. A lot of cables get really weak around that edge, so I appreciate the thought into that. And that's not no cheap rubber in the sense like it'll, you know, break. I use my stuff actively. I'm not hard on my gear, but it just gets put to a lot of work. So I don't just look at it, you know, what's possible, blah, blah, blah. I go down and read the specifications about what is going on with the cable, how fast are the transfer speeds, and blah, 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 as best as you can find out about these different cables. So I'm looking at like, okay, the actual transmission speed is within 480 megabits per second, 40 to 60 megabytes per second. So it cannot reach the speed of a USB 3.0 5 gig. Like that stuff means stuff. You know what I'm saying? The easiest way to say that, it means something. So basically these cables work in my scenario is what it amounts to. So that's what I'm saying. Like I look at what it's saying, and then I also want to see how is it working for me in the situations and the stuff that I needed. And I go from there. If I learn about something better, then I go grab that, you know, and have it as a backup or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. So that's where we're going to leave it for this week's Helpcast. We went through a lot today. Kind of got a lot of technical, not a little technical. We got a lot of technical today. So I hope you got a lot of value out this stream. Next Friday, we will not have a Helpcast, I don't think, unless I'm at a position where I'm able to stream or something from the hotel. Like I said, I'm be out of town next week. So again, if you're in the Ecamm community, you know about the Ecamm Live Meetup. I'll be in Albany, New York at People of Video doing a talk there. So I highly encourage, if you're around, come through, say hello. And then if you come into the event, I hope you get a lot of value out of bring with your questions to the room for the speakers and stuff like that. Like come with an intent to walk away with something. But because I'll be at that event, there'll be no Friday Live Helpcast next week, unless during that time frame, like I can swing like a little short one or something like that. Maybe go live from mobile. We'll see, but more than likely, probably not. So, a couple other questions came in. Let me answer these last ones. Now, do you do mentorship? I need help with my camera's lighting. Yes, at the DianaGladney.com/work with me is where I have my access for the links for how you can schedule time if you want to book a session to just work through some issues and stuff that you're having in video. I'll drop that in the chat. Or yes, I offer coaching, long-term coaching, as far as like 9 1-hour sessions where we take deep dives into that. That's not available on the website, but you can go on the contact form and, you know, I'll take a look and we'll see if coaching may be right for you as far as that is concerned. But if you just need like a quick 30-minute 1-hour session, those are available. And then do you do lives consistently, or is it more sporadic? We do lives every Friday for our Friday live helpcast, unless, like I said, in this coming week's instance, I'll be out of town. So yeah, that's it. And then, okay, answered that one. Saying thanks for the warm welcome. Always a pleasure, Charles. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. The Young Black Professional saying great stream. Thank you. My pleasure. All right, guys, with that, live with passion. I will see you somewhere on the interwebs.